Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/WiseGuyRadio. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. That's at www.audibletrial.com, AUDIBLETRIAL.com/WiseGuyRadio. This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show. Hey. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode number 26. Thank you all so much for joining us today on this tips, tricks, and fun stuff we're going over, including our audiobook, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And before I get into the show, I do want to just give you guys a heads up. I am new to the whole audiobook deal in terms of the chapters and shit. And when I looked at the how many chapters were on this audiobook, it said there were 7. And in all reality, this book actually has like 25 chapters, but there's 7 audio chapters. So what I'm going to do is next week, I'm going to kind of do a restart on this because the first 3 chapters on the audio version of the audio chapters, per se, are actually like 15 chapters. But today, I am going to go over a little bit of what I listened to, which basically was the paperbook version of this book, chapter 4 and 5, which I said I wanted to discuss today. So next week, we will be going over chapters 6 through 15. So I got to go on to the audiobook version, though. On Friday's episode, I will be putting out there specifically which audio chapters we're going to be listening to for next week, so that the way you guys have kind of more of a heads up. This week's shows have been all about education and the different outlets that we have in cyberspace for that. Monday being with Shane and his Glass Knowledge on Instagram page, and this Friday, my interview I have is with Will Young, who runs the Torch Talk page. He's more of the producer of the show. It's himself and 2 other glass artists that run the page, and then they bring on a 4th person that is a guest, and every week they do different techniques. They've just recently hit a pinnacle of 2,000 members, and their group is a no-bullshit kind of group. So if you're a brand new glass artist, you can go on there and ask the most whatever question that you think might be stupid, but to us that are on there, it's not, because you're new and you're learning, and we're all there to educate you. Now, I'm saying we are all there because we're all there as a community of this group. There's a lot of groups in the Facebook world, and some of them I'm a part of that I visit regularly, but most of the ones I don't. I'm very particular because there is so much troll bullshit that goes on. So, you know, let's all be nice. How about that? Let's just, whoever's listening to this, just if you're on Facebook and someone says something stupid, just ignore them. All right. There's my public service announcement for the week. So now we want to get into what I'm going to be calling week 2 of our audiobook club, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. In this part of the book that I read, which again is actually just chapters 4 and 5 of the paperback version, or hardback, whichever you want to call it, but the paper version of the book, he gets into more of the different levels of stages of growth in a business, starting off with the infant stage, and then you grow into the adolescent stage, and then you go into the mature adulthood, per se, of the stage of business. And this area of the book I got into was into the adolescent stage. And in the first episode, this week's we're going to get into more of the adolescent stage of a business, and which again is chapters 4 and 5 of the paperback book version. So here we are into the adolescent phase, and this is all kind of paraphrased and my perspective on our industry, on how you can take this information that Michael Gerber has written in his book and translate it into the glass industry, or even as an artist, as an artistic entrepreneur in general. So the adolescent phase, the idea is that once you get into your business, gain some traction, and you begin to grow, where you can actually monetize and scale your business, the idea is that you might get to a point to where you get too busy and you get overwhelmed because you can't keep on top of your orders. You got customers complaining because your stuff's not showing up on time when it should be. You've got packages sitting around that aren't getting shipped out. You're running out of color when you shouldn't be, or materials that you shouldn't be, or your gas that you shouldn't be, because you're so busy behind the torch and running all over the place trying to figure shit out that you just can't keep track of it all. So this whole concept in the adolescent stage is figuring out a way to relieve the areas of your business that you aren't necessarily that good at, or you just don't want to do anymore, or you shouldn't be doing, and you should have someone else delegated those tasks. So ideally, it's not that you need to hire somebody or bring on an apprentice, but the idea is to bring on some kind of assistant or somebody that can help relieve you. Myself, for instance, I brought on my new assistant that I have, Mike Dorr, and he's doing all of my stuff, like run errands for propane runs. He's packing and shipping orders. He's helping me with my weekly newsletter. Going through my emails, making sure my emails box is cleared out. Just things that I know that take up time that I would rather not do, and I can focus on the torch, and also focus on my customer service as well, and make sure that everything that I say I'm going to do actually follows through and happens. So that's kind of what you want to find. If you're feeling overwhelmed, your emails are piling up, your packages are piling up, whatever. If you're married and you have a wife or husband or whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, family member, even a friend that you want to bring on, even somebody that's a friend of yours that's interested in blowing glass, just say, hey, if you want to come help me out, pack orders once a week or twice a week and run errands for me, I can pay you by showing you how to blow glass or get on the torch. Because you really got to be able to focus as the person behind the torch. You got to be able to be the artist, to be the production person. In this book, it's referred to as the technician. You have the technician, the entrepreneur, and the manager. And the technician is those of us who are behind the torch manufacturing our work. If we want to be an artist and keep true to our name and to our line of work, we're not going to have somebody else making it. You're going to have your hands involved in some form or other. Like my interview with Steve Seislove, he talked about his assistants, and even though his assistants are doing prep for him and creating sections for his glass, he still is involved with it and is still creating the work himself. So it's important that you have it like that. Now, if you do have, say, just a generic production line where you're doing spoons and bats and some bullshit, bubblers or whatever, and you create your business as a brand model, necessarily as an artist name, then it's not a bad thing. You can have other people working with you, creating production work and paying them piecework. So just some things to think about, just some different ways of scaling your business. But to kind of go back is to find the person or one person that you can trust, that is reliable, that is interested in what it is that you're doing, or maybe already has done what you're doing, or maybe has experience packing orders, or has experience taking notes, or has experience doing emails, or has experience doing bookkeeping. These are all areas of our business that aren't blowing glass that we have got to stay on top of. Otherwise, the shit piles up so high, all you do is smell shit all fucking day, and you don't want to smell shit. You want to smell your other stuff. So preferably your Nag Champa or whatever you're burning in your shop. So just kind of something to think about. Some little notes I wrote here. Kind of try not to read this verbatim, but I think I should, just because it might make a little bit more sense. So when you get to a point where your areas that you have suffer because you're being overwhelmed, it might be a hard time to hire somebody. The one issue, though, by hiring somebody is that now you have freed up time, and this free time that you have, a lot of business people say, oh, I've got all this new free time, so you go out and you fuck off, when really you need to take your time that you're off and focus on the areas that you're good at. Focus on your glass. Focus on your customer service. The emails that are specifically you need to respond to, that's the times that you take to do that specifically. Otherwise, you rely on the person that you brought in to then take care of everything. And next thing you know, you're out fucking off, and you're getting phone calls of customers complaining because your business is falling apart because you relied on somebody that you brought in to do emails and mail letters. And next thing you know, you're trying to have them blow glass and run your studio for you or whatever. It's kind of an over-exaggerated example, but that's just the idea. So make sure that you take that time that you have, that you freed up for yourself once you're able to bring somebody in to help, if of course you even get to that point. If you want to just stay as an artist and just do one-of-a-kind art and not worry about doing production and not worry about doing a high-scale volume, in those areas in specific, you don't have to worry about. I mean, it makes a big difference. It just depends on what your perspective and where you want to go as an artist. Now, my perspective is that I do think that in order to get better at your medium and know your medium, you should do some form of production. Repetition is going to teach you your techniques, going to teach you your medium, going to make you familiar with your torch and your glass and your tools. So why not do production? Why not make 100 fucking hand pipes, make 100 bats, make 100 bubblers, whatever. When I teach somebody how to blow glass, they do it the first time, and now I say, okay, now do that 100 more times. And after maybe the 75th piece, they may have some form of idea through muscle memory on how this is supposed to work. So just some things to think about, just kind of going all over the place here with this, but that's basically the idea with this chapters of the book, is the idea that if you get to a point to where you feel like your business is growing and you're becoming overwhelmed in certain areas, bring somebody on to help you with those areas. So again, I hope that helps, and that has been our little segment for this week's version and segment of the Wise Guy Radio Audio Book of the Month Club, which is The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. And don't forget, you guys can go to audible.com, and don't forget, you guys can go to audibletrial.com/wiseguy radio for your free 30-day trial where you can get this book as a free download and 180,000 other books to choose from as well. So don't forget to go check it out. Get your free audiobook at audibletrial.com/wiseguy radio. That's WYZGUYRADIO. And now it's time for the Wise Guy Radio Shop Tip of the Week. And this week's tip is putting a ruler on your bench, or ruler marks on your bench. One of the easiest things you can do for yourself, besides getting a caliper, is to mark marks on your bench like a ruler. Generally, a lot of people like their pieces to be anywhere from 8 to 12 inches long. So generally, I have a mark on my bench that is anywhere, I think it's 18 inches total I have. And when you do mark it, mark your numbers back and forth. So that means that you mark your numbers from left to right, 1 through 18 or 1 through 12, and then also right to left, 1 through 12. That way, depending on which way you're holding your blowpipe or you're trying to measure, you can immediately go there. Now, my markings on my bench are to the right of my torch because I know I'm right-handed and I go to the right of my torch and everything's set up for my right-handed. So depending on what your comfortability is, how your studio is set up, even if you use a table that's behind you that your kiln's on, for instance, if that's how your studio is set up, however your studio is set up, make sure, though, that somewhere accessible to you is right there for you to go and bam, you measure your shit out. I do a lot of work that is catalog work that has to be specifically a certain length, so therefore I go ahead and measure that shit out. Make sure that my prep work is measured out the same. Like, everything that's got to be consistent. Makes a huge difference. Get a tape measure, whatever you got to do, mark your bench. Make sure that thing is at least 18 inches worth of marking that you have on there. And I hope this all helps. And this has been the Wise Guy Radio Shop Tip of the Week. It's time for a new segment of the show, the Wise Guy Radio Recommended Tool of the Week. And this week I recommend you guys go out and buy yourself a bent tungsten tipped tweezer. These you can find at Mountain Glass or any of your local glass supply companies. They range around $34 to $35. And the idea is that they have about a 60-degree bend to them, and the tips are not just your typical metal tweezers. They are made of tungsten. They have a very, very nice point to them, which is awesome. Because of the angle that they're bent, it allows you to get a nice pull-away motion off the glass, which allows for a nice, clean, centered pull. And because they also are so pointy, it allows you to grab the finest little, minute little bit of shit on your glass and remove it if you need to. Also, what's nice with these as well is that the outside of the tungsten tips are round, where the inside of the tip is flat. So you can use these for all kind of stuff, whether you're pinching out leaves, which I use it for. You can use it for all kind of stuff, for wings. You can use it for little detail stuff. It's a really awesome tool. And again, they're called thick bent tungsten tipped tweezers. So that is, again, your Wise Guy Radio tool recommendation of the week. All right, hope you guys have been enjoying these segments and they are helping you guys out. This coming up Friday again, I've got Will Young on, who is the producer of Torch Talk, and on Torch Talk, their Tuesday show called Torch Talk Tuesdays that is on YouTube. They are live from 7 p.m. Central to around 10 o'clock Central, and sometimes a little bit longer. And they also have backlog shows on there as well that will be on YouTube for probably ever and ever and ever. So again, this is the informational, educational week for those out there that, along with myself, are helping educate and entertain and inform our community. It's been an honor to have these guys on the show this week, and I hope you guys enjoy Will's conversation on Friday. He's a pretty cool cat. And next week, I have a special guest that will be on Friday. We are going to begin a new segment on the show as a potential monthly contributor for Law Talk. We're going to get into talk about trademarking, copywriting, potential forming a union as a lamp worker union of some sort. We're going to get into border laws. I mean, there's so many different areas that we're going to be covering. It's going to be an honor to have this guy on. He's an advocate for the community in general. Just an overall awesome dude. So super stoked about that. And I do want to start doing a Q&A show. I also want to do Q&A show that is specifically on a certain, specific topic or question. I'm thinking the first Friday of September, which is going to be September 4th, I believe. I'm going to do my first Q&A. So I'm going to say that the question that we were going to have for the first Q&A show, which again will be the first Friday of September. So I will need any question that you guys have before the end of this month. Or, I mean, not question, but any answer. Or question, too. But my question to you guys is, and I'd like some feedback from you guys as well, whether you want to send me a message or email or whatever. My question to you guys is, what is it in your glass world that is your biggest struggle? Think about it. What is your biggest struggle? Whether it's communicating with your customers, shops, glass, your torch you're using, supplies, running out of things, your book work, there's all kind of areas of our businesses that we have to pay attention to. And so I'm kind of curious with you guys, like, what is it that you guys are struggling with the most? And if we want to talk about these answers, you can email me at jmichaelglass76@gmail.com. That's jmichael, Michael, GLASS 76@gmail.com, and send me your answers, or even send me some other questions that you may have, and we will do a Q&A. Our first Q&A show will be the first Friday of September, and every month I will make sure the first Friday of the month will be our Q&A show. So anyways, folks, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm sweating my nuts off. I need to go in the AC before I pass out. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. Have a beautiful, safe weekend, and kick some ass behind that torch. And don't forget to kiss your loved ones, stretch before and after your sets, drink lots of water, and just fucking enjoy life. It is too fucking short. Enjoy life. Enjoy it. It's beautiful. Enjoy it, fellas and ladies. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing. Y'all rock. We'll talk to you soon. Love y'all. Take care. Peace. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. If you have any questions, comments, or remarks, please leave them in the show notes page area where it says comments. We'll see you soon. Have a wise night.
You're listening to the Wise Guy Radio Show.